Atlanta News First Plus starts now.
Thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk on Atlanta News First Plus as we take you through the stories making headlines in and around Metro Atlanta. I'm Maria Moreau here with ANF Plus. Atlanta News First Alert meteorologist Rodney Harris will be joining me in a couple minutes with your First Alert forecast. Let's get you into the stories we've been following this morning. This one continuing into Wednesday from when we first reported it to you on Sunday. The 6-month-old baby that went missing has been found dead. Police say his own father is their suspect. Atlanta News First Sarah Hammond reports from the Clayton County Courthouse where this tragic end to the story.
Police searched high and low for 6-month-old Nnakai Pratt since Sunday before the medical examiner's office tells us he was found near a dumpster near the apartment complex where this search all began. Now, Clayton County police say that Pratt's father, Antonio Pierce, claimed he was robbed at gunpoint and that the robbers took Pratt and escaped. Police previously called Pierce's story questionable because of inconsistent testimony and physical evidence that pointed to foul play. Pierce was arrested on unrelated charges, including possession of marijuana, but police say he is a suspect in Pratt's disappearance and now death. Neighbors at the aspiring to Antistafe apartment complex in Riverdale say they are shocked by the outcome of this search.
I will never be able to look across the street to the building across from me and not think about this incident here. This is heartbreaking, and I pray for the mother.
The father, Pierce, is due in court at 11 o'clock this morning for those unrelated charges. Again, at this time, he has not been charged in the disappearance and the ultimate death of his son. At the Clayton County Courthouse, Sarah Hammond for Atlanta News First.
And this morning, at least one person is in custody after a violent end to a police chase in Buckhead. It started with a shooting in Henry County. After pursuing the vehicle through Clayton County, officers chased the car north of I-75, the suspect hitting a car before getting onto I-20, then that car flipping over on Peachtree Road in Buckhead, crashing into 3 other vehicles. It was quite the scene, as we saw, as you can see here on your screen and as we reported to you. Now the Clayton County Sheriff's Office says that the suspect in this case is in custody. We are going to stay on top of that story and bring you any updates that we get on air and online on Atlanta News First. Let's get into Georgia politics for a moment. The grandson of Georgia's most famous governor is endorsing a former Atlanta state senator in his quest to become the state's first Democratic governor elected this century. Jason Carter, a former Democratic nominee for governor of Georgia, endorsed Jason Estevez in the state's gubernatorial election. Now, like Estevez, Carter, the grandson of the late former President Jimmy Carter, is also a former state senator who represented Metro Atlanta's 42nd district back in 2010. He was reelected in 2012. So whether this endorsement really pushes Estevez forward in the line for the Democratic nominee for Georgia governor, he does have a long battle ahead, especially as support builds around former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. We'll have more on this on Atlanta News First as we talk about this coming up on the Record, a weekly show that we do for you where we dive into Georgia politics every Sunday at 11. Make sure you tune in. You can also listen to it as a podcast. Just search Atlanta News First on your preferred podcasting platform. And I want to take you more nationally as we look at the government shutdown, now in its 15th day. The bill did not address any of healthcare demands by Democrats that would push both sides, both parties, to ending this shutdown. It would have reopened the government. If passed, it would have reopened the government through November 21st. That seems to not be the case right now. The longest government shutdown on record is 34 days, and we are at a point where we are approaching the half-day mark to those 34 days, possibly walking into a new record for the longest government shutdown this country has seen. Now, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle believe that the current shutdown could last at least that long as this gridlock continues.
Republicans say Democrats can stop President Donald Trump from firing federal workers by signing on to their spending plan. Democrats believe they can stop the president in court. House Speaker Mike Johnson says federal workers without paychecks have Senate Democrats to blame for the government shutdown, as they have not passed a GOP funding package.
Over 3 weeks ago, the House passed that bill, and you all know the details of it. It is completely clean. There are no policy changes, no partisan riders, no gimmicks or tricks at all.
Before the Senate teed up an 8th vote to end the shutdown, Democrats doubled down on demands for Republicans to add health care funding to the plan, accusing them of creating a crisis.
The American people know that Republicans have shut the government down because of their unwillingness to provide health care to everyday Americans, working class Americans, and middle class Americans.
Speaker Johnson says those health care demands are unserious and says some of those Medicaid cuts were made for a reason.
They should not be riding the wagon and taking Medicaid. That is intended for vulnerable populations, the elderly, disabled, and young pregnant women, for example, and not young able-bodied men without dependents who are playing video games.
Republicans say Democrats are forcing President Donald Trump's hand to permanently fire employees. Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen says those firings are illegal and Democrats will prove it in court.
When they tell you that the shutdown is making them fire these federal employees, do not believe it for a moment. That is a big lie. It is a big, fat lie.
President Trump says the Pentagon will shift funds around to ensure members of the military receive paychecks. The government has already begun ending payments to most federal workers. In Washington, I'm Brendan Cullerton.
All right, I need everybody to get ready for a quacking good time this weekend in Roswell. The great annual duck race is back as thousands of plastic ducks will float down Big Creek along the Oxbow Trail. Photojournalist Jason Maxwell has more on how you can join the fun.
So this weekend, Keep Roswell Beautiful, which is a local nonprofit here in Roswell, is hosting their annual fundraiser, which is the Duck Race. It is going to be on October 18th at Oxbow Linear Park. It is from 10 to 1.
And that is when we put 1,000 ducks, little plastic ducks, into the creek down on Oxbow Road. And the board members will be in the water and we'll collect the ducks. And it's our biggest fundraiser every year. And there's still time to buy ducks.
That's probably my favorite part of the event, is watching these kids' faces light up as maybe their little ducks, their little plastic ducks go into the river, and kids absolutely love it. They get so excited, so energetic over it. It is really probably one of my favorite events that I get to be a part of, because you just feel the happiness is palpable from these little kids enjoying this fun event. But then not only are there the ducks going down the river, after that and before that, there's a lot of fun arts and crafts and games and activities and giveaways for kids too. So really you can spend multiple hours at the duck race having a lot of fun.
And then we want them to be aware of our waterways and how important that it's the litter on the roads and the sidewalks that go down to the water. So it all plays a part, and that's what we're trying to do, is raise awareness about the whole impact of the environment here.
We want generations past us in the future to also be able to enjoy these amazing spaces. So I think it just sort of puts eyes on our waterways, talk to people about why they are so important, and then ways that we can keep them clean, again, for future generations to come.
So you can go to keeproswellbeautiful.org, and you can buy 1 duck for $5, or you can get the Quacker Pack, which is 5 ducks for $20.
Personally, my money is on the blue duck, but we will see how the race goes. And again, just a fun idea for your family, for friends, and spending some time outside in Roswell. This is a live look outside at Midtown Atlanta as we get you over to First Alert meteorologist Rodney Harris with a look at your First Alert forecast, including a First Alert weather day we want to let you know coming up ahead.
Yes, there is, in fact, that First Alert weather day for Sunday. We've been talking about it for the past couple of days. It's really our next best chance of rain. So there's good and there's bad with this First Alert weather day, Maria. The good is we need the rain. We need the rain badly. So we'll take whatever we can get. But if you're headed to church on Sunday morning, that will impact you. So just a heads up, make sure that's circled on your calendar. Maria, before we get to that, I would like to talk about today, which is a day where we'll see record heat potentially. The high is 86 degrees. For perspective, the normal is 75. So we are more than 10 degrees above average again today. And the record for today is also 86, which was set back in 1935. 1935. So that is a it actually is a 90-year-old record that may be broken or tied today. So that's the story today. It kind of was a little chilly for some of you again this morning, but definitely warming up later on this afternoon. So rest of the week's going to look good. Sunny skies. Highs are going to stay in the 80s. And then here's our focus for Sunday. We have a cold front that's moving in, and that's what's going to give us our next best chance of rain. So here's the model, and I'll point out that we're still on our long-range model. So there's two models we use, the long-range models and then the more high-resolution models. This long-range model, the resolution isn't as great, so it's going to look like it's wetter than it may actually be. But once we get into tomorrow, our high-resolution models will start picking up on this, so we'll be able to be a little bit more specific about the intensity of the rain and the timing. But at this point, some form of rain will be moving into northwest Georgia around 4 or 5 o'clock on Sunday morning from Rome to Dalton, maybe as far south as Carrollton. And this model has consistently shown some rain moving into metro Atlanta around 8, 9 o'clock on Sundays. As you're getting to church on Sunday morning, I do have scattered rain in your forecast. Again, because this is a low resolution model, so we can look further ahead, it kind of fills in the blanks. It might not be as heavy as what that's showing, but that gives you an idea of where the rain would be. And that rain would continue throughout the morning and going into the first part of the afternoon at least. With this cold front moving through, the models are also showing that Sunday night should be dry, or we should be drying out. So if you're watching some Sunday night football or doing anything on Sunday night, we should be in better shape again. We'll know more on that timing and the specifics by tomorrow when those high-resolution models come in. But we're confident enough that you'll see some rain on Sunday to where we decided to first alert that. So in terms of your impacts, of all the potential impacts on Sunday, the two that I am forecasting right now is rain. I think that most of us will, in fact, see rain, and there may be some occasional storms, which means there may be some occasional lightning. There is a risk for severe weather further north and west. At this point, we're not really forecasting that for North Georgia, but that's something we'll also be watching for as we get closer to Sunday. So if you're planning Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon rain, maybe some occasional lightning. Here is your entire 7-day forecast. Again, this week it's just been phenomenal. That's going to continue. Even though we're at record heat today, the highs will actually drop a little bit for Thursday and Friday, only in the low 80s. So still chilly in the mornings, but pleasant in the afternoons with sunny skies. By Saturday, the clouds are back, but still completely dry. So Saturday is the better day over the weekend. And there's that 50% chance of rain on Sunday with a high of 76. And then with that front that's coming in on Sunday, we're back to really nice weather for the first part of next week, at least sunny skies Monday and Tuesday. And one thing I'll point out, we'll start talking about this a bit more, but Monday morning, Tuesday morning, upper 40s to low 50s. So it's been a little bit chilly this week, but temperatures are going to be even cooler potentially at the beginning of next week. By Tuesday morning, that 49 basically represents the suburbs, especially north of I-20 in metro Atlanta. So you'll certainly need that jacket next week, even more so than you did this week. That's a look at your forecast. First Alert meteorologist Ella Dorsey. She's working on an update for you on Atlanta News First at noon. You can always find the forecast in the First Alert weather app. I hope you guys are enjoying this day. Continue to make it a great one. And until next time, we'll see you soon.
Stay up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF+. You can also text weather to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.